A heavy slept on concept for One Piece. As you guys know, Dressrosa is one of the best anime arcs in history. But what did you know about the originality of Dressrosa? How is Dressrosa one of the most original concepts in anime, but we slept on it because what happened is we made anime a certain standard to a point where a nerd can't be a nerd. A nerd has to be, you know, a box junkie. Like, he can't be open minded about anything. He can't disagree with other nerds, which is why we don't even live in the age of nerds anymore. We live in an age where nerds think they're gangsters. Even if they don't, commit crimes, they think that they have this exterior ego for having all these friends online and literally being a part of the lean, the Xanax generation. So these generation of anime fans think that they're analytical, but the whole purpose of debate is to disagree with somebody. So all these, Discord faggots, I'm not counting like the big high tiers like from Neverworld, King of Lightning, Tekken 101, etc. Sorry, Seven Maids, those are all good people. But I'm talking about the random Discord dot that literally thinks that he knows shit about anime, but he doesn't even know anything about life. And you have to know that anime is literally the most highest mature form of entertainment in terms of animation because of how many references they make to real life, which is why anime, when characters die, they stay dead, and literally that's why it's not like an American cartoon. So let me get into Dressrosa. So Dressrosa was one of the most original arcs in One Piece. But let me tell you why this concept was slept on. Is because we didn't think about Lily. We didn't compare it to how the show used to be. We do, but we highlight the wrong stuff. What this is that this is referencing a military strategy that was used to take down a mob boss. If you don't know who Doflamingo is a mob boss, and you don't know what he's based off of. A lot of people think that Doflamingo isn't based off a gangster. Okay, the drip, the feathers, what you see is what you get. I'm here to educate you about what anime actually is and why One Piece is the GOAT. But why did we sleep on this concept? We were all looking forward to this Luffy versus Doflamingo. We were watching all this other shit like the tournament. We were not liking any of this shit. Why did Dressrosa drag on so long? It's specifically because Older cannot tell you this message, because what he did with Dressrosa is he pulled some gangster shit. He pulled some gangster shit, and literally what he's referencing is not what nerds can comprehend. So if you don't know, like, literally how a mafia works, Doflamingo is kind of like a godfather, how he pulls the strings and everything. So he's referencing a gangster automatically. But why do we sleep on this concept? It's because we have these miscellaneous concept with the tantadas, with all this corny shit going on. One Piece is filled with corny shit, specifically so you can literally stay a kid. That is simply why it is. So I'm not telling you to change the age demographic on anime. What I'm telling you to do is literally understand that he masked this concept very well by giving you a whole bunch of corny kiddie stuff within Dressrosa, but the meaning of the choreography behind Luffy versus Dofi is really, really phenomenal, because I've actually had to deal with a gang myself, and literally what Doflamingo is a mob boss on top of many other thugs, and since he is the highest mob boss is why it took so long to beat him. So Doflamingo literally had this significant advantage over the whole city of Dressrosa, especially with the birdcage. So let me tell you what this is referencing. There is this strategy where you have a whole bunch of pawns and they're trying to take out the king, but the king knows how the pawns work in and out. So what he's doing is, so the king isn't allowing himself to be open. So what the pawns have to do is the pawns have to lower the king's his strategy. They have to lower his way of thinking. They have to lower him physically. They have to lower him a whole bunch of times. They have to make sure that they get hurt a little bit, but then they have to back off, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to inflict pain on the mob boss, and what they want is they want that pain to linger on. So that is literally the meaning behind Doflamingo in Dressrosa. How Luffy beat him is actually how you beat a mob boss, because that's the whole purpose of being a mob boss. He's already 1,000 gang members in one, so you can't face him literally trying to do mini attacks every day. You can't do mini attacks against the mob boss. So here's how Luffy in Law versus Doflamingo went. Since Doflamingo was 1,000 times stronger, what Law did is Law dumbed his power down 3 times, and Luffy dumbed his power down 3 times. And literally, but that was also when he was using up all of his energy because of the birdcage. So he took advantage of the fact that Doflamingo was using all of his energy, and that exact strategy is how you deal with a mob boss. Because you can't deal with a mob boss by trying to annoy him to a point where he'll be off guard, because a mob boss is always on guard. A mob boss is always in soaking in sorrow, is always by himself, is always thinking about more strategies, because a mob boss used to be a pimp. It goes literally, it goes gangster, pimp, and then mob boss. And the reason why, mob boss will be before pimps is because pimps don't have a lot of mobility because they rely on women for everything. If you don't know about that, that is another side of society. And the thing about a mob boss is a mob boss doesn't rely on pimp tactics, but he is as strong as a pimp. If you don't know, a pimp was the highest form of a gangster because he has what gangsters fight over 24/7, but he has no peace, he has no privacy. So a pimp is the person who beat up all the gangsters before. A mob boss is somebody who not only beat up all the gangsters before, but put himself in a king's position, but it's always a lowly position, but that's what keeps him scattering. He has all the time to himself, so they can't think for themselves because they're always in the gang. So that is the wrong way to deal with a mob boss. In order to beat a mob boss, you have to cripple a mob boss. You have to injure him once, and then knowing that he's still strong, you have to cripple him again, and literally you have to drag it on. Not only do you have to cripple him, you have to play with his mind, exactly what Law did. So Law literally hit him with the static shock over and over again. Luffy attempted to take on Doflamingo. We already had a birdcage up. This is a gangster strategy that Oda uses in this manga, and that's the reason why Dressrosa is so long. It's because you nerds shouldn't be aware of that strategy. It's the reason why Dressrosa expanded over 100 episodes. That is the exact reason. That is how you master something. So this is literally how you take down a mob boss. What you do is you injure him, and then you make big attacks when he's already injured. You don't keep on going jab, 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 because he's got to figure his way out of the situation. And not only is he smarter, he's stronger than you. So literally, that is the meaning of Doflamingo. So it took Luffy roughly around 40 episodes just to literally get past him, and literally in Law too, so these two here figures, what he had to do was they focused on the fact that he was already using his energy for the birdcage. And so what they did is they didn't hit him with a bunch of mini attacks. They hit him with big attack after big attack after big attack, and then they put a whole bunch of jabs in between to distract him in order to figure out a way to get his power. So what you have to understand, that is not only a mob boss mentality, but that is 100% original in anime. Not only did Doflamingo have the edge, he has the longest edge of the villain in anime, because that is how you take down an actual mob boss. That is our original concept in anime. Never before in the anime was there literally a joint effort to defeat one big villain. There was Frieza and Dragon Ball Z, but that didn't make an effort because at the end of the day, the ending of that fight was one-on-one. Goku had to rely on a transformation that was stronger than Frieza. This is actually a whole bunch of many people up against one big mob boss. Not ever has it been recorded in anime. This makes anime history, but why do we not care? It's because this generation doesn't want to pay attention to that. It's not about the mob boss mentality. It's the fact that it's the first time we had a boss in anime that took a joint effort to defeat, and literally took multiple on top of multiple handicaps from the main character in order to defeat the boss. This has nothing to do with gangster stuff. That's where he's referencing. But in terms of anime logic, that has never been done before. Doflamingo has broken a barrier, but it's at a time when nobody paid attention, which is why we have to change this generation. We have to understand that the way we view Doflamingo is the way we should view adults, is the way we should view people of higher status. We make fun of people of higher status because we don't have to put in the work themselves. That is really, really a bad mentality, because if you really want to know about the older generation, everybody was a Doflamingo once. My Uncle Jay was a Doflamingo. Doflamingo is somebody who worked his way up to at least 300 pounds in terms of intellect. It may not even strength, but in terms of intellect, so nobody can fuck with him. So he can specifically become a leader to make sure concrete nobody fucks with him. That's what it was back in the day for the older generation. Literally, it doesn't mean you have to bench 300 pounds. It means you have to bench 300 pounds mentally. And that's exactly what Doflamingo is. He's a man amongst men. Literally, we have this misconception that a king is a fat guy, or can be a fat guy that sits on his ass all day while his servants do all the job. A king in real life is somebody who earns it and literally has muscle on top of muscle and literally deserves this king throne. And the reason why he sits on the throne isn't because he's a shit. It's to finally relax because he's done dealing with all the territory. He's done being the strongest person, but they still try every day because they have a mind over matter mentality when he is the god. If you don't know what God can do, if you read Marvel comics, God can control matter. So you having a mind over matter mentality does not help the situation. But Doflamingo literally was the first boss in anime, the first major villain in anime that it took multiple joint attempts to defeat. And it was the first time where a joint attempt in the anime actually succeeded. Yes, I know that much about anime because I've been watching anime for a really long time. This is a very slept on conception. You guys never saw this in One Piece, but I learned it over time that is why they had to beat Doflamingo. They couldn't literally just think about literally, oh, he's open here. No, Doflamingo was never open. They had to create an opening for Doflamingo. That is what was really crazy. That shit literally broke the mold for anime, but we didn't pay attention at the time. It was at a time we accepted everything. If you want more like groundbreaking stuff to be highlighted, you have to stop viewing anime the way you do. Stop watching it just to survive and start actually living what they're talking about. You know, I'm not telling you like to be gangster and stuff like that. I'm not telling you like to be a straight fire and stuff like that. I'm talking about even when I wasn't all that, I was able to appreciate anime for what it was, like Usopp versus Luffy. Did you know how much of a street smart mentality that comes with? Usopp is holding on to something. He put his blood, sweat, and tears. He put his blood, sweat, and tears into the growing Mary, and Luffy is like, fuck that shit, we have to get another one. You have to be realistic about reality. We can't hold on to his shit forever, literally. Even though Usopp gave himself the best chance to win, Luffy was 1,000 times stronger, so you can't always keep that mentality. I'm trying to tell you guys, literally, that comes with a lot of emotion. Imagine if you have friends. You guys don't view it that way. You view it as just the anime. These are just cartoon characters. They have no soul. Instead of imagining yourself in their shoes. Everybody has a fucking soul. The person who wrote it has tons and tons and tons of soul. That's what makes anime different from a cartoon. It's not just a running gag. It's not like they get hit with a hammer and literally they're good the next day. No. Anime is a very realistic form of animation, which is what you have to appreciate. You have to literally think about all the hard work that hours of sleep the older is losing for you guys just to be analytical and say it's not canon. That's very disrespectful. And this is a shout out to the anime community, why you have to change the mentality, why you have to be more passionate about your media, why you have to treat these mangaka with respect instead of really being cringy and ignoring the hard work they put in just to suit your personal needs. I really wanted to get this message out because this is showing you that the anime community has to change how you view anime as a whole, because this is a groundbreaking strategy that Older put in. It wasn't meant to be highlighted, but I highlighted it for you guys to let you understand that this wasn't only the fact that Oda is a grown-ass man and that he accepted life for how harsh it was. Everybody has gone through life, but everybody has gotten past it. This is the reason why you have to respect these grown-ass mangakas, because they put in the work, not for us to be analytical, but for us to be intellectual. Intellectual and analytical are two different things.